Hi everybody, Jennifer Blevin-Smith with Integral Clinic Solutions, and you're watching my YouTube channel, Navigating the Business of Medicine. Today's fun topic is going to be about your in-house referral processes. And actually, I'm wanting to start a very brief series called Workflows, and this is going to be the first one. And it's basically to discuss and bring to mind some important workflows that you should have established before you open your practice so that your staff is aware of who's responsible for what and to ensure good patient care and follow through. This is also important about closing that loop of communication when you are involving other outside providers with your patients and making sure that you develop a good rapport with your patients and show your staff that it's important to close that loop of communication and follow up and ensure that your patients are doing hopefully what you have suggested they do. So most likely, no matter what specialty you have, you're going to have some sort of referral process. Now, you might be a practice that only deals with incoming referrals and not so much of outgoing, or vice versa. You might deal with sending a lot of patients out to specialists, but not receiving a lot coming in, or maybe you will have an even flow of both. But either way, you need to have workflows established and policies and procedures for your staff to make sure that things are being done correctly, they're being followed through on, and patients aren't getting lost in any of this process. A lot of times, your EHR system is capable of helping you track these things, and it's basically learning how your EHR can help you in this process and then establishing your workflows around that. So I encourage you to make sure that you are learning and being trained on your EHR system, how their referral tracking system, whether they're going out or coming in, can be done mainly or largely by the system, and then making sure that anything it doesn't do, can't do, or that you feel more comfortable with a person doing is established and discussed. The other thing is making sure who's in charge of what in the office. So do you have medical assistants or nurses that need to be helping with referrals? Does the front desk need to help? Maybe, a hybrid of all of that, or maybe you have a referrals department. I'm going to be guessing, since you're a new practice or you're a small practice, that people are going to have to be wearing many hats, which is completely acceptable and understanding. And you're going to be asking your front and back office staff to be working in collaboration on these referrals. Not many small practices, private practices, have the funds, especially just opening, to have a referrals department or a dedicated person that only works on referrals and authorizations or whatnot. I'll do a separate video about obtaining prior authorizations, but this is just about referrals. And a lot of times they can go hand in hand, but this is just about referrals. So make sure that your EHR system, number one, can help you and figure out exactly how it can help you. Number two, you need to make sure that your staff knows what they're responsible for in these referral processes and if they understand what a referral is. There is a lot of definitions that kind of overlap in the medical world when it comes to referrals, and it can be really confusing, especially for people who either have never worked with referrals or haven't worked in the medical field very long. The first kind of referrals is provider to provider, as a courtesy referral is what I try to call it and explain so that people can understand. And basically it is a referral from one provider to the next, sending a patient from their office to a specialist office and sending the basic chart notes to give a good understanding of why they're being referred and for the staff to expect them to be calling or to be contacted to set up that appointment. Now, depending on your in-house requirements and policies and procedures, if you're a specialist office, you might require your staff to make sure that you have a courtesy referral on file for a patient before you will allow them to schedule, whether their insurance requires it or not. This is a more standard of practice anymore because a lot of specialists want to make sure that, patients aren't kind of doctor shopping, or there is a real need for them to be seen by the specialist, and that it is definitely not going to waste anybody's time. There are definitely people out there that think they need to see a specialist, but they really don't, because they don't like what the other doctor is telling them. So they think that if they see a specialist, they're going to hear something different. And that can cause a lot of issues and take appointments from people who really do need to see the specialist. And since there are a lot of specialties that are in high demand, their waiting list to be a new patient or be seen is so long that this is the way that they try to narrow down exactly how to triage the people being referred to them and why. So the first one is the courtesy referral. It's from basically provider to provider of chart notes and information, demographic information that will be on file so that the patient can be seen. You can also put into place that when you receive an incoming referral, that your staff contacts that person right away and sets them up, which I would do, especially being a new practice, so you can guarantee hopefully that business coming in. And we know that people get busy, they have good intentions to schedule, and they just keep forgetting. So it's always good if a doctor's office can reach out to the patient if you receive a referral and get them on the books. The second type of referral is an insurance required referral. That is that the insurance will not cover the visit by the specialist unless there is a referral on file through them, but initiated by the general practice or primary care doctor. This is kind of hit or miss, so you'd have to make sure that you know patients' plans and insurance plans that require referrals in your area. But unfortunately, you could be missing out on a lot of money if you see patients that actually require an insurance referral and don't have one on file. Not a lot of insurances will do a retro referral or a referral after the fact, so you could be stuck having to eat that amount, and you don't want to put yourself in that situation. So it's really important that your manager, your billing staff, your front office staff all know the plans in your area that are going to require referrals. And that's also another reason why it's good to get that information sent as a courtesy referral from the primary care or the outside provider, so that your staff can review the insurance that they have to see if they do require a referral through their insurance, so that your staff can contact the referring doctor's office and ask them to initiate that and send it over once it's received. Then at that time, your staff can call the patient and get them scheduled. You don't want to schedule a patient assuming it's going to come through in time. I would wait until you actually receive those referrals in order to see the patient. As you can see, this is a very complicated process, and so you want to make sure you have this all figured out before you open your doors, so that you don't end up seeing patients that you have to eat the costs because of the referral requirement from the insurance company. And you also want to make sure that your staff is scheduling people who should be seeing you and it is appropriate. Now, sending out referrals is very different, and that's when you need to decide if you want your back office staff to be initiating those referrals once a provider suggests that the patient be seen elsewhere for something, or if you want your front office to take care of it. Most likely at first, until things get busy, you're probably going to want your back office staff to do it, just to give them a little bit extra tasks to keep them busy until you grow your patient load and you have, a faster paced environment in the back office. And eventually that might have to change to the front office, or you might have to bring in a referral coordinator depending on your specialty and how busy you get and your patient volume. But to start off with, it's probably good to have your back office deal with the outgoing referrals and your front office deal with the incoming referrals, and then have some areas where they kind of overlap and help one another. The outgoing referrals are the courtesy referrals that I was talking about. So they would make sure that they're sending over the latest chart notes, any labs, imaging that is necessary to send out that's associated with the condition in which they're being referred, and also the demographic information of the patient, like their insurance information, their address, phone number, name, all of that. If they need something initiated through their insurance, like I discussed, then your back office staff would need to have access to those insurance portals to initiate that, because most insurances now, instead of calling, you have a portal that you would use, and you would initiate the referral as the primary care or the referring physician within that system. Of course, if they needed help or they got busy, the front office can always help with that because they're going to know insurances a little bit better, most likely, or plans, and those things are going to help coincide and help one another. You also want to make sure if you can utilize your EHR in putting pop-ups, if a patient's insurance does require an insurance referral, that you can put that in there to notify you, to give you a heads up so you guys can initiate that before being contacted by the outside office saying, hey, can you do this for us? Also putting any kind of other notes that are necessary for prior auths, referrals, specialty labs, or requirements is always a good idea to utilize in your EHR. Make sure that your front office, your back office knows what their roles are in regards to incoming and outgoing referrals. Make sure you have these processes set in place. Make sure your EHR system can help you and that you know how it can help you in its full abilities so that you're not double doing any work. And also make sure that you're learning all of the insurances and plans as much as possible in your area on who's going to be requiring an insurance referral. Hit the thumbs up button if today's informational video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and take care of yourself. Have a good day. Bye-bye.